All right. Donald Trump tells ISIS, we will retaliate after the ambush that killed 3 U.S. troops in Syria. Victor, anything you want to say about that, or this
I
is
don't
what
know that
happens?
I don't know if we have the whole story, but it seems to be somebody that was supposedly training with him, or they knew, or somebody in the government. That happened a lot in Afghanistan. It just raises the same question. I think we have 900 soldiers in Syria, and I think the former ISIS members who have now flipped and are trying to form a government in Syria and who ousted the Assad dynasty are supposedly pro-American, and they are supposedly, according to Trump, outraged at this and will punish them. But we lost deterrence in Syria during the Biden administration. I'm not blaming him solely, but for 4 years they staged over 130 attacks originating in Syria on American bases, security positions, and we didn't do much of anything. And we basically established this principle that if you want to kill an American, nothing's going to happen to you. So Donald Trump is going to have to find a way to disabuse people of that, and we'll see what he does. But if he can't, then you can't put Americans over there as sitting ducks like we did in Lebanon. And Reagan took everybody out of Lebanon. That probably was a bad sign or reaction to the destruction of the embassy and the barracks in 1983. But if you're going to put Americans over there, then you have to tell their enemies, if you kill these people, we're going to make life very uncomfortable for you. And there's nothing more uncomfortable for radical Islamicists, because we got about 250,000 of them here on campuses, to tell them we really have no problem with you. But if you're associated in any way with these movements, or let's just say there's certain countries, and Trump has named them, why do we just don't, I just don't think it's at this point and this time, there's no need. We haven't enough people coming in. There's no need to bring in people from Gaza, from the West Bank, from Morocco, Algeria,
Right,
Libya.
right.
I don't know, maybe Jordan, maybe not, maybe some of the Gulf places, but there's no reason. We have enough people. Why would we bring anybody in from Somalia? There'd be no reason to do that. We have enough people here. And we've already proven that A, we can't vet them, and B, they're not honest, they as a group, immigrants, about who they are and what they are here for, and that they will all be self-supporting, or they
Right.
have a patron that will support them. I mean, you have 75 to 80% of the Somali community on public assistance, and they're committing fraud in addition. Then only a Tim Walz would say, we want more people like this. What Tim
Yeah.
Walz said last week, Jack, was basically, if I could translate his gibberish,
Right.
we have 75% of the Somalia communities on public assistance, and they've created the greatest welfare fraud in the United States, a large group of Somali. And we want more people just like,
Yeah. Who refuse to assimilate, and actually, maybe culturally can't assimilate. We certainly know they won't assimilate.
well,
They
if you come over from a country, the difference, as I said before, between a Judeo-Christian country where that is the majority religion and an Islamic, where it's the overwhelming um, religion, is one of tolerance. If you are in an Islamic country, I've been in a lot of them, and you just watch. You can't be a apostate, atheist, agnostic. It's just almost impossible.
Mhm.
You at least have to profess you're a devout Muslim. Here in the United States or Western Europe, you can do whatever you want, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
So that's why people are not, except for these petro sheikdoms that have all this money. That's why people are not flocking to Egypt. They're not flocking to Morocco, Algeria. They're not flocking to Tunisia and Libya. They're not flocking to the West Bank. They're not flocking to any of these places if they're not Muslim and Arab or Muslim. Just not doing it. They're coming here because they have a particular view. They want the security, the freedom, the prosperity of the United States or Western Europe, but they want it in a cocoon, as an enclave, so they can continue to have all of their traditional customs and values, but with the major exception, they won't be poor. They won't be monitored by the government. They won't be attacked by their tribal rivals. They'll be safe. They'll be rich. They'll be healthy. When they get a problem like I have, they just will go right into a university research hospital and bam, $300,000 for a procedure or something. That'll be paid for. And then they can vote for somebody like Ilhan Omar, who says this is a trashy country and the dictatorship's worse than the one she left.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
How would you say, out of many, one, hell no in Latin? I don't know. I know e pluribus unum, but I don't know
I
how
get
to
it,
say
I
hell
get it
no.
really upset because I think I've been in 2 ERs and maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 offices, doctor's offices, and maybe 10 scanners the last 6 months. And I can tell you this is a wonderful country because in every single place, there were sizable numbers of people who did not speak the English language, and they were immigrants. The one that I just got out of Friday night after a procedure had a sign, Jack. It was really ecumenical. It said, "Do you point to the language you speak?" It was at every desk. There were 20 of them. I didn't even know some of the language, Mongolian, etc. And for somebody to say this is a terrible country or it's trashy, or to see people in Los Angeles waving the Mexican flag and burning the American flag, it just sickened me, because this country is so Joe Biden let in 12 million people, and then he went to the beach and fell asleep, but he didn't say to himself, who's going to house them, who's going to feed them, who's going to pay for their and then they all have medical problems. Are they just going to go to Cedar Sinai and walk in the door and say, I don't have any health insurance, I have a kidney stone, can you give me $50,000 worth of free treatment? And if you don't, you're a racist? Yeah, that's what it was. So it was a good country. It was generous. It was magnanimous. But we don't ever hear any thanks for what we do.